testing it out.
What's up? I'm Sam Maxon, aka Slammin' Sam. I'm a DJ, actor, self-proclaimed Renaissance man. When I'm not in the studio, I'm diving into my hobbies and exploring many interests. With that comes my personal uncensored insights on anything. This is The Slam Show.
And welcome to another edition of the Slam and Sam Show, or I should say the Sam. I can see this started off really well.
You got this.
The Slam Show. And not your usual host, but I am filling in for him. This is Oscar Benjamin, a.k.a. many of you know me as the Compassionate Wolf. I have two co-hosts with me, and please, by all means, introduce yourselves.
I am Arlene Marietta.
And I'm your hot horror hostess, Miss Misery.
Indeed, the atmosphere just raised up a little bit. Tonight's show is being sponsored by Davina's in Pleasant Hill. I just had a couple slices of the pizza earlier, and I gotta say, I might have to go there after the show just to get some more. It was incredible. Wow.
Yes, thank you for the pizza Davina's.
Yes.
And before we start the show, let's get a few announcements here. Slam and Sam will be live in the mix this Wednesday, May 3rd, in another edition of the Slam and Mix Show on Facebook live broadcast. Go to his Facebook at Slammin', or I Am Slamming, I should say. And he'll also be live at Maria this Friday, May 5th. Maria in Walnut Creek. He'll also be playing the hit Still Closing, no cover, no dress code. Should be interesting with that kind of deal.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I've been to a couple of his shows. There's a couple of his live shows I cover him, and Sam is amazing on the Wheels of Steel, and
yeah.
You know it's an amazing sight to see, and the audience really loves him.
He's definitely a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just some of the pictures I've gotten and some of the things are pretty interesting, and I've had to kind of put some aside too.
Oh boy!
Ooh,
Don't ask,
see
don't
those.
tell.
Hey.
That's the kind of enthusiasm Sam really generates, so that's a good thing. So tonight we're going to talk about a couple of things, and let's get right into it. Comic book conventions. This is a topic I'm pretty familiar with, and I know Rain is familiar with, and Arlene is familiar with it to a lesser extent, perhaps. But in a week or so ago, we attended the Silicon Valley
Yes.
Comic Con.
That was fun.
Yes, it was. I need some of your impressions. What did you think? This is the second year of the show now.
Yes, and I didn't go to the first year. Mm-hmm. So being here for the second year, it was great. It reminded me of being at WonderCon or San Diego Comic-Con in a way, because they had so much going on outside and inside. It was fantastic. I had a table there with all the other Bay Area horror hosts.
Yes,
so
you did.
it was fun seeing the fans and Steve Wyatt, who runs the convention, running around like a chicken with his head cut off, doing a bunch of stuff, but he kept his cool. He was good. I got to see Ernie Reyes Jr. again. That was cool because I met him at the San Jose Toy Con earlier this year, and he totally remembered me.
Fantastic. Why wouldn't he? Why shouldn't he?
That's true.
Come on now.
But I was like, it's Ernie Reyes. I used to want to marry him.
Oh,
when I was a little girl. He had a show
Revelation.
called Sidekicks.
Uh-huh.
And Sidekicks. And hey. And I told him that. I was like, I love you. I got starstruck, and I was like, I used to want to marry you. I used to tell my dad I was going to grow up and marry you, and he started laughing. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Oh, he started laughing. Come on.
He did kind of, but he was, hey, but he was really sweet. He was cool, and he had a ring on, so he's married.
Wow.
But I'm married too, so it's all
That's
good.
True.
It's all good.
There
but,
you go.
But what was great?
There'll be no affairs for you.
What was great was I was like, man, no. What was great though was like when I left Ernie, I was like, I'll see you on Twitter, like to kind of get in, like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to you more. And he's like, cool, okay. So I was like, sweet. Yeah, he was awesome.
Fantastic.
I didn't get to meet anyone else because I was stuck behind my table, but
you were doing business.
But
so, hey,
I had to do what I had to do.
That's what you're there for. You're doing your business. You're
definitely
promoting a show, your career, and it's, that's that's a good thing. So.
I did hear around that the convention was bigger this year, like they opened more to it.
Yeah, you know what? Let me get into that because I was actually one of the official photographers for the con.
That's right, because you were there last year.
My horn, you know. Let me get into the origin of the show a little bit.
Great.
As you know, Steve Wyatt used to run this show called Big Wow.
Yes.
So Steve Wozniak, who of course is the co-founder of Apple, he approached Steve Wyatt, that is, with the idea of buying out his Big Wow.
Yeah.
So obviously it was a great deal. So, but he wanted, the stipulation was that Steve Wyatt would still run the nuts and bolts of the show, basically. So that's how that came about. So last year was the first Silicon Valley Comic Con, and I covered it last year, and it was an impressive debut. I thought it was a very good debut, and the fact that Steve Wozniak was so public throughout the convention was another exciting aspect of the con. I thought, that made him more accessible to the public, and not so much that he had this mystique about him, but he didn't have this grandiose air, but he made himself accessible, and people literally would love him that much more. So it was a smart move on his part, basically.
Yeah.
So the show from one year to another was an amazing growth spurt. I mean, last year they didn't really have any outdoor events. That's one thing. But this year they had more guests. They had more celebrity guests as opposed to last year. They had more panels this year.
Oh, cool.
And I would say it was a lot more exciting. I mean, the guests this year ran the caliber from Grant. Justin, of course, who plays the Flash. Yeah. And he was accompanied by Tom Felton, who, of course, from the Harry Potter movies. And
Yes.
plays Julian on the Flash show now. So, I mean, it was a good panel, and people really loved him. And he's a genuinely lovable guy. I mean, he said it was his first con, which I thought was a little disingenuous, which I thought was kind of odd because he's at Comic-Con.
They announced it like that, but he's been at Comic-Con.
Yeah, he's
right?
been at
That's
Comic-Con, and so I guess literally maybe it's his first panel by himself or something. I mean, I was kind of puzzled by that announcement. I'm like, okay. Well,
I know he's really
hallucinating or
shy.
something.
Also, I think he says a lot that he's a shy person.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I would say, all in all, it was a great show. I mean, I was running around a lot, nowhere near as much as I do as Comic-Con, but nevertheless, I was doing a lot of, putting a lot of miles on the feet. So
yeah, I saw you running by. Oh, there's Oscar. Oh, he's got to go. Wow, he's fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you something. When he's at these cons, he's sweating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like he is literally, you are literally sweating your end off running from one place to the other. And it's like funny, I can't keep up with him. So when I would go to the cons too as press, and we would like do some of the panels together and stuff like that. I'm just like, or we did like SAC Anime together as well and stuff. So, and I think it was Wizard Con. I think the first time they came.
I've never done Wizard Con.
I think I might have gone up there the first time they had it in Sacramento. I think it was. But anyway, so it was really interesting. But I'm noticing that there are more and more and more cons every day. I remember when it was just Comic-Con pretty much, and then WonderCon and then DragonCon, and those are the only ones that I actually really ever heard of and knew about. And now you have like all these other cons.
Like one every weekend.
Yeah,
practically
constantly coming up. And so it just shows like the passion that people have for these things. And and it's a great way for the audience to be able to see the people that they love up front. Like, it's almost like a rock band on tour where people can see them, but for actors and, cosplayers and so forth. So, and you have like, and it's funny because like the first time I heard of like, there's a famous cosplayer, like who on earth, it's a cosplayer. Come on. They dress up in a costume and they go to a con, but there really are people that are famous and make appearances that are cosplayers, and they do this. And they love it. And so,
Yeah, one of the most famous is Valerie Perez. She was there. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
yes.
she's a great cosplayer. So, and she's a wonderful woman too. So, she's very popular. She's an actress also. So, she's also associated with the Saturn Awards too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
She's like the face of the Saturn Awards or something like that.
Oh,
I'm not
nice.
sure.
I got to make it down to one of those.
Yeah, you should. The Saturn Awards are a very good award show. It's something that flies under the radar, and there's A-listers, A-list producers, directors, and actors, and there's this great party at the end where you're just mingling with people.
Oh, cool.
And there's no real division between press and the actors and the talent there. So you're all kind of hanging out. So it's
I miss being press sometimes. When I'm at the conventions and I'm a guest and I'm like, oh, I used to be press. I would be doing this right now, that right. And then I'm like, oh, but I'm a guest. Like
exactly.
I really enjoyed being press, but and I didn't have to be in the crowds as much as press. So that's kind of one of the things, the perks. Yeah. Having like our own little box and whatever else, and being away from
the press room where you're interviewing, the roundtable interviews.
Yeah,
and,
those are fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they were definitely a lot of fun. But on that note, not to bring the show down, but I wanted to give a shout out to David Alvarez, because the last time I saw him, it was at a con, as a matter of fact. And we all got our picture together and stuff like that, and our group picture and stuff. And so, bringing that memory
anime,
back.
Right?
Yeah, it was set for SAC Anime and stuff. And we were, with the crew that was dressed up as predators and aliens and stuff. So, so it was a very sad thing to hear of his passing and stuff. So I just kind of had to, just bring that out.
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered him that way. Last time I seen him was a SAC Anime, and my last image of him will be the electronic dance, because he was like covering it with me, and he was up on stage with me, and so we took a gag shot, and I will definitely miss him.
He was a great friend and a great presence, and so he will be sorely missed. So
Most definitely.
I wanted to actually make sure that we
definitely, yeah,
we were able to express that today.
I'm definitely glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
But so but anyway, as far as the cons go, like I remember meeting somebody and asking them during one of our press times and stuff. It was just somebody that I saw that was dressed up, and they had people approaching him. And come to find out, this lady was a very shy person in nature, and she felt like going to these cons and dressing up actually made her feel like part of a group. She said she was always kind of a loner, and it actually helped her to come out of her shell and be able to talk to people. And Steve Martinez, he's famous for playing, Captain Jack. Was the same way. He said he was a little socially awkward and, very shy and stuff like that, and just, hard to meet people and talk to them. And now he's like dressed as Jack Sparrow. He's like, people come to him.
Exactly.
So, and they introduce him, can I take a picture with you? And that's how he was able to come out of his shyness and stuff like that. So it's amazing, not is it just fun for them to connect, but what it actually does for the people.
Which actually brings me to my next point, which you touched upon in your answer there. What do you think? This is a thing I've been wrestling with for a long time, because I remember the roots. I used to go to conventions back in the 70s. I mean, I guess that gives you a clue on how ancient I am. Hey, nice.
I'll say, is there a bones creaking one there? 'Cause, yeah.
So there was these cons. So there's the cons back then were these members only kind of things, where these a very small group of people get together, the outsiders, you want to call them, the introverts and the people on the fringes and everything else. Now that that's kind of in the mainstream, I wonder what impact do you think this has on the idea of the original group? Or I'm not trying to say we should possess this genre, or we should kick out the mainstream people that are coming in, but what are your feelings on that? Because there's a lot of mainstream people in this genre now, and that have kind of made the comic book conventions their own, and think they're it's kind of become a new in crowd. So, which is exactly what it wasn't in the past. There was people on the outside that created their own in crowd. Now it's the people
it's gotten bigger.
Yeah, the people that we were never accepted, we were never part of, now are coming to us. So what's your thoughts on that? It's something I've been wrestling with. I don't know if there's an answer to this.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there is. It's just a thing that happens in a way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a little stumped, Oscar.
Yeah.
Thanks.
There's no
I know what you're
incorrect
saying.
answer.
Everyone keeps laughing at me. So I know what you're saying, though. Like, when I first started coming up, and that was like 10 and a half years ago, with the films and Miss Misery and everything, we were invited to these little conventions. They would be mini conventions in the back of comic book shops.
Yes.
and you'd have to have not like a password to get in, but you'd have to know someone to get in.
Exactly.
And I'd be like, this is great, this is cool, but I know what you're saying. As it evolves, like all of a sudden, everything around you it's changed so
look at
much.
The top 10 films are all basically, you know, comic book related films, science fiction films,
it's
horror films. I mean, the Transformers franchise is another film coming out. I mean, the amazing what movie? Beauty and the Beast crossed $1 billion.
Jeez.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, these are films that were considered, you know, not chic or anything to get into, or
like you're considered a dork for watching them,
exactly.
right?
The term geek came from this, you know, where it was actually the real meaning of a geek is the guy that, you know, takes the head of a chicken and, you know, gobbles it. You know, literally live chicken. That's a geek.
Yeah.
You know, what was that? There was one movie that, and I can't remember what it was. I can't remember if it was a TV show or a movie, and it was basically where they came back. It might have been 17 again or something with Zac Efron, where the cool people were the nerds, and the so the cool people, they were the nerds, and the people who would be considered cool are now the outcasts. And so I think now it's like what was considered outcast back then now is completely opposite.
Exactly.
And it's what everybody is what everybody's wanting to do now or wanting to be now. And I think it's all about like being yourself or being individualism and being accepted for that. Whereas before, you know, you had to hide who you really are, and you'd have these like little groups and stuff. And now it's like all about being yourself and being everybody. And you know, one of the things that I love about the cons is like I have so much fun at them when I go. Like I don't like crowds. But like I remember, like there was a lady on the stage, and they're having a singing contest, and it was packed in the auditorium. It was packed in there, and they were having like a dance contest or a singing contest. And there was one lady up there that was singing, and I was like, "Oh my God, can she hear herself? How does she stand up there and be so brave, knowing that she can't carry a note?" And when she got done singing, everybody cheered
That's the way
and
it should
applauded her and whatever else, because I was like nervous for her. It wasn't that I was criticizing her. I was nervous for her. And I was just like, oh, these guys are going to heckle her or whatever. But they didn't. It was the most sweetest and loving atmosphere and the most giving atmosphere I think I'd ever been in.
Yes.
And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And now I know why they're here. Because they no longer have to hide. You know, there's so many people that are different, and individual, and they're not trying to fit into a group, and they can express themselves at these places. They're able to do that. Yeah, during your time, I think so many people were repressed.
Yes.
You know, and now they don't have to be repressed anymore. And I think that's why there's such an explosion of all this from
I
when
feel
you were
most
doing
at
it.
home when I'm among my people, as I call it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I consider
definitely.
the people in the con my people.
Right.
So
it's like a family.
Exactly, and it's extended. Cons are basically like an extended family reunion. I see so many people I recognize and I know, and there's been friendships made, and you know, but touching friendships and you know, superficial friendships, sure, but
you get some of those.
Nevertheless, there are friendships, and there's you know, acquaintances, and people are happy to see you, and you know,
feels good.
Yeah, it's an amazing experience.
So, so what I see happening.
Therapy.
Right, exactly. And what I see what's happening is like you're talking about going to the comic book and having to go in the back, and the people, and you have to know people to know people to know people, and more people get involved in this, and then like they're like, man, this is really cool. I want to do that too, and have that same kind of vibe and atmosphere for people. So then you have somebody else doing it. Same thing with the conventions back then. Before it was like, oh, a small group, and then they would invite their friends, and their friends would go, and eventually they're like, this is really cool. I want to make this available for other people as well, because I know there's more people where I am, and that's just kind of where. And now that's where we are now. With all these people.
Yeah, we could just talk about the most obvious example is Comic-Con. It was held when it originally started off in the 70s, it was held in one hotel room. And literally now it's 250,000 people converge onto the Gaslight District in you know, San Diego. It's amazing. And there's people spending the night for Hall H, you know, and, you know, even Ballroom 20 is getting crazy, and you know, it's an amazing experience just to see how mainstream it's become. And I first noticed that trend probably in the 90s when I was, you know, back when I was the official photographer of WonderCon when it was still in Oakland. You know, which I have to give kudos to my friend Joe Field. He's the one that got me into it. So he's the one that, he started the whole thing, and
awesome.
I'll be talking about him a little bit later.
Cool.
Bring WonderCon back, by the way.
It'll never come back here. No.
Bring WonderCon back.
It'll never
Now
come
there's
back.
San Francisco Comic Con.
Yeah, San Francisco
Right.
Comic-Con.
Are they going to be at Moscone?
They're going to be at Moscone, yeah, the old WonderCon.
Wow.
But the second WonderCon home, actually.
Hmm.
Because remember it was in the
Yeah,
Oakland
that's right.
Convention Center?
Yeah.
That
Well,
hotel there?
I didn't start going to WonderCon until it hit Moscone.
Oh, okay.
And when I heard about it, then I went for my first. That's when I first met Bob Wilkins
Yes.
and John Stanley. Yeah.
Did you ever get to take a picture of the two of them together with you in the middle? Maybe?
Yeah, I can't find it. I gotta.
Oh,
I
no.
know. I have. I know, right? Because that was my
Oh.
first introduction to who they were.
Yeah, I cherish that photo. I know exactly what it is.
I
Yeah.
gotta. I'm looking for it.
Yeah, I have a story. And how did you meet John Stanley? What's your story on how did you meet him?
I was still in high school, I think, when I went to my first WonderCon. Well, I went with my sister and my dad to go meet up with one of my boyfriends. I mean, just one boyfriend, not one of them, just one. Sorry. You know what I mean.
We all
Sure we do. So she's revealed how many boyfriends she's had. back then.
Anyway.
Gave herself away.
So anyway, no. And we were walking around, and all of a sudden my dad looked over and freaked out. And all I remember was the look on my dad's face. Creature features. He was so excited. I'm like, who? Because I didn't know who they were. He was like, that's Bob Wilkins of Creature Features. And I'm just like, okay. And we met him. We talked to him for a bit. He was telling me horror hosting and who he is. And that was the introduction to who they were. We took a picture with them. John doesn't remember every time I tell him.
It's fun that your dad was a part of that and knew and encouraged it and basically brought you into it. That's really, it's kind of like a fun family memory. Yeah. Really.
And everyone always thinks that I grew up watching Creature Features, but I didn't because I'm too young. But my dad would wake me up Saturday nights to watch Monsters and Tales from the Dark Side. Okay. That's what I remember were those. Yeah. But Elvira was the one growing up. Okay. So,
yeah, for me it was Elvira.
Elvira, yeah.
Well, for me it was definitely Wilkins and later on John Stanley. And I actually met John Stanley because I wrote to him. He was also a critic for the San Francisco Chronicle back then.
Yes.
So I wrote to him. I wrote to him just asking, because the old adage is you never know unless you ask.
Exactly.
So I just asked him. I just wrote him. I said, "Yeah, I know you're the host of Creature Features. I'm a big fan. Is there any way I could come on your set sometime to watch your film?" And he took me up on the offer. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great because it was being filmed every Friday at the old KTV studios in Jack London Square in Oakland. So
how fun.
Yeah, so I cut school, because I was back then.
You're bad back then too. Cutting school.
No, I knew how to manipulate the system. You became you became an A and B. You became an a straight A or a straight B student. Great high average. So then you could actually cut school and they wouldn't get suspicious. So.
Yeah.
So that's how you play. That's how you play that game. So
nice.
So then you're kind of forgiven.
You hear that, children? That's how you play the game. Get really good grades, and then you can ditch all you want.
Exactly. Yeah. So every Friday I go down to the studio watch them film. So I actually was part of the show at one time with a mask on. It was pretty fun. And
that's awesome.
And luckily I have some images from back then too, where I was on the studio with John Stanley, and I was there when one of the times I really distinctly remember was the late Ray Harryhausen was a guest. Oh. Yeah, it was great. I got to touch his Clash of the Titan models and everything else.
Now that is really cool, actually, because I love that movie. That movie. Yeah. They killed the second one, but the first one was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I got to manipulate the various models, and it was fantastic. And Ray was a great guy.
Oh, that's awesome.
I took a picture with him, and it's a cherished moment.
So cool.
Yeah, it's a fantastic moment.
That is really cool.
Yeah, it's my Creature Feature story.
I have none.
Oh,
I'll just have to enjoy yours.
You live vicariously.
That's right.
There was also another convention. This brings me to another thing with the convention. I noticed this was to a lesser extent probably at the recent con, the Silicon Valley Comic Con, but there's this diversion that was probably started by Creation Con, that of the autograph and photo ops driven conventions. Now, I have ambivalent feelings on those type of things, and I understand the appeal, but luckily, the good thing about, I was at the Stalker Con, luckily they have panels, for those who want to do that kind of thing, and they had the great panel with the gentleman who plays Negan, right? And he literally stole the show. I mean, he was, the actor is, what is his name? Oh, I can't believe I forgot his name. He was in Watchmen. He was in Supernatural. Wow. What is his name?
Dean Morgan.
Oh yeah, Jeffrey Dean
Jeffrey
Morgan.
Dean
Jeffrey
Morgan.
Dean Morgan. Yeah. And he was hilarious.
He's
He was
hot.
Yeah, he was.
With a beard. With a beard. I can't stand it when he's shaved. I'm like,
Oh well. He had the beard. Don't worry. But he was hilarious because he actually went on stage with a cigarette in his hand. So politically incorrect. I mean, he said, "Hey, boys and girls, don't do what I do. You know, just vicariously live through it." It was hilarious.
He's really funny, actually.
Yeah,
he's really funny.
Hilarious. Mm-hmm. And he was so good.
Wait,
on
what was he?
Superman.
The comedian?
Yeah, it was
on
the
there.
comedian.
Yeah, it would be very appropriate, I think.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was on Supernatural.
Of course, he wasn't very funny on The Watchmen, but
No.
yeah, his character
But he
was
was
extremely
good.
dark. Yeah,
I think
He was
first,
good.
I think people first gained notice of him on Grey's Anatomy. That's the
Oh,
name.
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, he played that
Yeah,
guy
that's right.
in bed all the time. Or
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't ever watch that show.
Me
no, I
neither.
didn't either.
I've seen
but that's
clips.
that's what I know about
Yeah.
it. So
It's like once he hit Walking Dead, all of a sudden you get all these clips and what he's been in. Everyone's,
Exactly.
covers him. So then he's from that.
There was so
I'm
many-
guilty. I haven't seen that one either.
the character is so popular.
Guilty.
There's so many people cosplaying as Negan. I had young boy Negans, young girl
Aw.
Negans, and teenage
That's really
Negans,
cute.
and yeah, it was pretty funny. I mean, everybody with their bats and everything else, and there was actually the convention sold the prop bats. and-
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah,
They're pretty cool.
It's actually the Walker Stalker Con is a good. It's at the what is it, the Marina? What's that place called in
In San Francisco? The Marina District?
No. Oh, wow.
Is it near the airport?
No, it's not
No.
that. It's not that one. It's
Okay.
it's off of the Marina. So, but it's
It's in a hotel, right?
no, it's not.
It's not in a hotel?
No, it's a good location, but I'll figure it out. Hey, that's not funny.
His memory's
We'll have to
gone.
Yahoo it.
I'm getting decrepit.
Oh, no.
I'm starting to show my age.
No.
They did that a long time
My
ago.
arthritis is kicking
Oh,
in.
God.
You know what's sad is you probably have a way better memory than I do.
I have a fine memory. It's
You have a great memory.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I'm jealous of his non-allergies too.
Yeah,
He's not
I'm
allergic to
glad.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
and he
I'm
doesn't
not.
get headaches either.
No.
Yeah.
I've never had a headache in my entire life. I don't know what it feels like.
Lucky.
Hey, that deserves a gong. That's definitely a fact. But I highly Walker Stalker Con is another convention I highly recommend. It's a lot of fun because it's amazing to think of. When I first seen Night of the Living Dead, when it was on Creature Features, I first seen it, and this movie literally gave me nightmares for 2 weeks straight. My
Yeah?
brother and I seen it. Right, we had
Which
the
movie was that?
Night of the Living Dead, the original.
Oh yeah.
The late
Yeah,
60s, the George Romero film.
Yeah.
Mine was The
I know it's
Exorcist.
George.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
startled that you had nightmares. That's
Well, I
all. So
was
that's why
seeing
I'm
it-
looking at you weird.
Well, I seen it in the 70s, right?
Uh-huh.
So you have to look at the context of the era.
Okay, yeah. That's
okay,
true.
I see it on. It was a black and white film, and it had the feeling of reality. For some
Mm-hmm.
reason, black and white in that era felt like it was a newsreel or
Yeah.
a real footage.
Did you watch it in the
documentary.
dark?
Well, it was dark enough, yeah.
No, it was
So my brother, I first seen it when I was, let's see, what age was I? Probably 11 or something like that.
Well, no wonder.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pretty
okay.
impressionable.
Yeah. So my brother and I, he's 2 years older than I. So we seen it. We both absolutely got nightmares for about 2 weeks straight. So literally, when we went to the bathroom, one of us would have to guard the door in the hallway.
Wow.
So the other one could use the bathroom in peace. So we thought these
Yeah.
zombies are gonna walk
'Cause-
down the
yeah.
hallway.
Your
And
imagination runs wild.
I guess they
and-
eat us while we're using the bathroom. Or
Well,
whatever,
for me, it was The
just
Exorcist at
picture
that
that.
age.
Oh yeah.
The Exorcist was pretty. That's the one that gave me nightmares. I don't think any other movie gave me nightmares but The Exorcist, and I think I was the same age, so maybe it was
Yeah.
the age that made you more impressionable. I think I was like 11 or 12 when I saw that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if my parents would croak if they knew I actually saw that. So sorry,
Oh,
Mom
I'm
and Dad,
sure.
you know now.
Oh, he just revealed it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like 8 when I saw John Carpenter's Halloween,
Oh wow.
but it didn't give me nightmares. It fascinated me more for some reason,
Uh-huh.
which is 'cause I'm a little sick in the head. But the movie that did give me nightmares was the next one I saw, which was Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
Oh, that's weird. I'm surprised the first one didn't.
And I've never ever told anyone this ever
Uh-oh.
on air, but for the Slam and Sam show. So
Oh.
I was obsessed with chili. I used to love chili.
Oh God.
So
Oh,
after
God.
watching Chainsaw 2,
Oh,
I had a
God.
nightmare that Gilbert Gottfried made me eat chili at a gremlin's mouth in a bar.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
And after that, I have not seen Texas 2
quite a
since
dream.
then. I own it, but I have not seen
Nor do you watch
Wow.
Gilbert Godfrey anymore, huh?
it. That dude. Every time I had that dream, I'm like, if I ever meet him, I'm gonna tell him.
You know, I actually, he's actually one of the nicest guys. I was on set with him for
that's right, you
that
were.
film,
nice.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had pictures together and stuff, and he was really funny because he kept trying to figure out what I was. He stared at me for like a good 30 minutes. I'm like, man.
Are you a human?
I'm like, yeah. So after about 30 minutes, I was kind of getting a little uncomfortable because I was assisting him with some stuff, and so he finally looked at me. He's like, in his Gilbert Godfrey voice, he goes, "What are you exactly?" And I'm like, "Huh?" And he's like, "Your race, where you came from. What are you?" And I'm like, "Korean and German." He goes, "Ah, okay. Nice combination. And I was like, "Thank you." And then that was it.
Seems like
so-
I think he was working up to hitting on you. Actually.
No
That's what it
way,
seemed
no
like.
way.
That's
He's
what I was
married.
that was a
He's
shtick.
married, and he's very happily
a
married
shtick,
to a
you
very
know.
lovely woman. But he was actually quite nice, and he joked around with us on set.
That's
And,
cool.
so it was for Unbelievable. So if you haven't seen it, you got to go check it out.
Yeah.
But he just.
It's a
He
Star
probably
Trek-
would
the Star
laugh.
Trek parody.
I-
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a Star
I
Trek.
hope
a lot of Star
so.
Trek people in there.
He'd laugh, but he would never if I ever saw him after that, he wouldn't let me ever forget about it.
He
I'm
might
sure.
actually bring you some
Exactly.
chili.
Oh,
Show up at one of your cons or one of your booths with some chili for you.
Oh my God, I bet.
Here you go.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, no, he was a big sweetheart. But that's
That's cool.
a crazy dream.
Crazy, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
And the Gilbert Godfrey out of all people, Jesus.
Yeah, it's like, how did he even pop up in your head?
I know,
that-
right?
To be all the people that would do that. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I heard, and I could be wrong, that it was based off of a true story.
Yes.
But what a lot of people don't realize is that true stories, like a film can say it's based off a true story, but it's not. The whole film doesn't have to be based off a true story. All
Exactly.
it takes is like the guy walked into Burger King, got a burger, and left. And I hope it's okay for me to say Burger King. And then left.
And now a
then
sponsor.
now it's their new sponsor. That's fine. So and then just that part of the movie could be true
yeah.
and nothing else be, and they
Exactly.
can still say that it's based on a true story.
What's funny is how so many people think that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is based on all these kids driving in a car. And I'm just like, one time I had a friend text me. He was like, "You know what today is?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "Today's the day that the kids went on their trip from Texas Chainsaw." And I'm like, that part isn't real. He goes, "Yeah, it is. It is. I've seen it online." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever you want to believe." I was like, but I just thought it was hilarious how people just get so into it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's really
Jesus.
it is really bizarre. The internet created a separate reality, basically.
Oh yeah,
The
definitely.
introduction of the internet created, a separate world practically.
Oh,
A matrix,
sure.
in other words.
yeah. Well, look at Blair Witch Project. It was like the peak of internet time, wasn't it, when it came
Exactly.
out? So that's why it hit so big.
Yeah, I've
True
never
story.
liked that movie.
Really?
Yeah,
You've never
I
liked it?
Hated that movie actually. I thought it was an overblown piece of nonsense.
I got into it for the time,
Uh-huh.
but if I watched it today, I'd be
I was
like,
so
really?
disappointed. I was like, where's the punchline here? The camera ends with her just turning around, turning her back to the camera. Where's the fright?
Mhm.
I was actually quite bored watching the movie. I was like,
I mean, I
"Oh,
can see what they were going for. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the execution.
Found footage films for the most part are kind of silly. I mean, there's a number of them I do like. Cloverfield, I love Cloverfield.
Cloverfield's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not. I love Chronicle also. I love that one.
Oh,
too.
Chronicle.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, but I can't really think of any other ones I like.
Yeah, because I've seen so many that I'm just kind of like, you get bored with it very
Yeah,
fast.
exactly. It
So-
becomes unrealistic because if you're being chased by someone, would you be actually taking
Filming
your time
it?
to film it? You're trying to run away from.
Well, I don't know. You were telling me a second ago during the pre-show that make sure you record anything when it comes to, somebody chasing after you or you're going to get beat up or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, record it.
I mean, wouldn't you want to record if, let's say, you saw Bigfoot? Wouldn't you want to try to get your camera out to record it?
Of course.
I mean,
But if a
I don't know
Bigfoot
if-
decides to come after you, you're not going to keep on recording. You're gonna think
yeah,
about what to
that's
do.
true.
What am I
You
got to
gotta
do
think
here?
safety
am I gonna
first.
make an evasive maneuver here, or where am I going to go?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to keep on filming. Hey, Bigfoot, just hold it right there. And, this guy.
Well, I mean, but no, what I would see happening is like maybe if you turn the camera on, but
By
because he's
running
got
away, Bigfoot's
Well,
going to slam into the
no,
camera.
well, I'm thinking, you turn it on, And you stick it in, like, say, like if it's your cell phone, you know, you want to record whatever evidence that you can. You can just stick it in your back pocket and take off running, and it'll record the sounds, if anything.
Which actually which actually reminds me of that horrifying incident about that. Do you remember that guy? I forgot his name, but he was into bears. He was constantly, and he actually, there was actually some, I think it's at least audio footage of the bear actually turned on him and ate, his girl.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot.
He like constantly filming all the time?
Yeah, exactly. But he's one of these guys that think, I could hang around bears. I mean, people forget these are, wild animals.
Because once you're around one and it's fine, then you get comfortable and you think you're invincible all of a sudden.
Exactly. I mean, it's like I've seen several footage of like these guys with alligators. They go to bed with
lions.
Jesus,
or they're swimming with the alligators. Like eventually, this alligator is going to retain his sense of
exactly
the law of the jungle. He's going to turn on you and roll in the water with you, and that's the end of it.
Definitely.
There's several. There's several people like that on the internet. There's a number of footage.
There are, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't take my chance.
No, I would never do that. So
you only live once. I mean,
I'm not that crazy when the dogs sleep in the bed with us, much less an alligator or a tiger. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I like my space. So give me some. Unless I'm cuddling my guy, nobody else.
At least you can read kind of a cat or a dog. You kind of read their emotions. But an alligator, there's no way to read his emotions. He's just staring at you.
It's like when people sleep with snakes, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. When they start opening their mouths up and licking their chops, I think that would be a cue for me that it's probably time to remove myself from the bedroom.
And they are rather tasty, though. I don't know if you've ever eaten an alligator. It's pretty good.
I'm sure they say that about you, too.
Oh,
I'm a food wuss. I'm a food wuss.
You should give it a try. It's good.
Oh, man.
They'll eat
That's why she'll never eat shrimp.
I probably won't eat shrimp. I just tried salmon not too long ago, but just a little piece.
Wow.
Little piece.
It's amazing.
Well, that's a start.
Yeah, that was it.
I can't believe you don't eat seafood. Wow.
Well, we can the gong. We can grind it up and like sneak it in our meatloaf.
Exactly.
I don't eat meatloaf either.
Okay, what do you
I'm
eat?
a food weirdo. What do I eat? Barbecue chicken.
That's not that weird.
Well, hey.
I did a lot of chicken lately. Well, actually, what is today? I'm on day 23 of no sugar.
Oh, congratulations.
No desserts.
Wow, so you're starting to go crazy a little bit?
Yeah, I decided to challenge myself one day.
Calm,
just go on the Arlene Marietta diet, and you'll wipe all of that out. Because I can only eat like 5-6 things, and none of them contain sugar. So you'll be good. No desserts for me.
It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped crying. I stopped having panic attacks, and
there you go.
One time my husband came home. He was like, "What's wrong?" I was slamming. I don't know what to eat. I can't eat any cake. I can't have this. I can't have that. Freaking out.
Wow, hangry. She was hangry.
Yeah, and he was like, "You can't eat sugar," and I'm like, "I can't. I'm challenging myself. 1 month. So we'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens."
So how many days has it been? You said 22.
22 days.
So you got 8 more days.
The problem is my birthday's on the 9th. So
that's right.
My dad's
my
dad's getting cake, and I'm like,
we're May children, yay.
So I got your perfect present. I'm gonna get you barbecue chicken and stick a candle in it and put it in front of you.
Perfect.
And that'll be your birthday.
Yeah, and I'll cry the whole time.
Put it heavy on the barbecue.
Yeah.
And sneak a little shrimp in there, so never know.
There you go.
But like, I ate shrimp. That was so good, right?
Exactly.
Is that what's gonna happen?
Yeah, pretty much. You're like, man, this chicken's got a little bit of a different flavor. What's different about this? Oscar sneaked in some shrimp.
That's right. Some shrimp
and more salmon.
Darn that Oscar.
Troublemaking.
And this is why he gets pulled over at TSA all the time and gets frisked.
Exactly.
I'll have to frisk you for shrimp next time you come over my house. No.
Please do.
Oh man.
That's the one thing. Whenever I do weddings, right, and they have some shrimp there, I always have to restrain myself because you don't want to be that guy with a big bowl of shrimp. Hey, that photographer's taking all our food, So
that's so funny. I can totally picture you too, like
it's very tempting. So I have to. If I do that, I sneak off somewhere and I just.
Why not? Why not?
He's like that kid in the corner with all the food, hiding in the corner with all of his goodies. I can just picture myself.
great.
So now I know if I see you hidden in a corner somewhere,
I'm with my
I am
shrimp.
turning on Facebook Live. I'm walking over there and putting it over your shoulder
Yeah.
to see what you're into.
I'm having a
So
shrimp
funny.
attack.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty fun.
Nice.
That's cool.
Let's get back to we're diverting here, which
Yes.
is good. Actually, this is a great conversation we're having. I'm enjoying this.
It's my fault. I'm sorry.
No, this is good.
No.
I'm good at diversion.
This is good.
So if we ever rob a bank, you guys will be like, Arlene, you're our diversion. Go get him.
We'll throw you in there and then we'll run
Yeah.
away. Raina and I run away. Arlene will be
man.
the carpet there. You can get her now.
Yeah.
Be horrible.
Oh, man.
When I was at the Silicon Valley Comic Con, I was thinking, where would conventions go? Where would be the future direction of conventions and that kind of thing? What do you think is going to happen with conventions? Because I don't think they could keep going on the same path they're going, because it's going to get the formula's going to get stale and old.
Well,
There's got to be some kind.
yeah. Well, as you can see through, because there's a convention every weekend, and
Yes.
as you can see through each convention, like, eventually what's going to happen is it's just going to be the exact same people every time. It's going to be the exact same thing. Like, everyone's going to try to top each other. It's just going to.
I feel like it's already like that.
Yeah, it pretty much is. I mean, I can't do every convention. Like, I took a year off conventions, and Silicon was the first time I came back after like a year and a
that's
half.
right. I didn't notice you.
I needed a break.
Yes.
There was just, be a guest here, be a guest there. And I'm just like, yeah, this is fun, parties. And then after a while, I was like, Jesus, I got to take a break. It's just too much after a while.
It really is. And and like some of the people that we know started some of these up actually, you know,
Yeah.
and so you don't want
Yeah.
to turn them down because you know that they need
Exactly.
the help to build it up and stuff.
Yeah.
But the issue is because, like, when we did WonderCon and then we did Sec Anime and so forth, I was getting invitations like crazy to all these different cons and to come as press as well. They invited me as press and stuff, and it was very time consuming. Like, I
Right.
wasn't even dressing up, just the editing and the prepping and the getting there
Exactly.
and everything else. It's actually a lot of work.
is.
And then to write stories on them, or even go on the air, and then having pictures or telling what happened.
It
It's
is
a lot
sort
of
of
work.
a sense of it's almost like an alternative reality too. While you're at a con, the whole world outside of you stops, so that the
It does.
con becomes that reality. And that's why some people get into that post-con depression, which is interesting and pretty prevalent.
I get into it during San Diego Comic-Con time because I didn't go a couple years in a row now. So whenever it's that time, I freak out and I got to go
yeah.
buy toys.
Well, there's your therapy. It works.
Like, I got to get a toy. I'm not there. Oh, my God, all the pictures. I freak out a little bit.
Yeah, it's
but
it's
I understand where people come from.
Yeah, it's an all immersive atmosphere and environment.
It's
It's basically it's like Disneyland, but for
Yeah.
cosplayers, really. I mean, it's an
Right?
escape from reality, and it's escape from life in general, and you go
And
into,
it's
like
so
you said, the
sad when it
whole
ends.
universe. So it's like the depression when you leave Disneyland.
Exactly.
People get super, super sad because it
Yeah.
was just such a relief from your everyday life.
Exactly. Then you're back in reality.
But yeah, I can
That's what
see why you
sucks
took a
about
break,
those.
because you just get all these invitations, and it's a lot of work. And it's not that you don't want to support people and you don't want to help them to grow or anything like that. It's just
Exactly.
it's a lot of work.
It is.
And speaking of growing, let's get into what the two of you are doing, and I'll end it with what I'm doing. But let's start with Raina. What's your latest projects, and what do we know you from? And please be candid.
Well, you know me from Miss Misery's Movie Massacre. I also have comic books out. I have books out now, a Monsters series. It's called Monsters. It's kind of like in the vein of Goosebumps.
They're comic books, right?
No, they're books. I've been writing books.
Wow, nice.
I have the comic books I have separate through Scattered Comics.
Yeah, because I know
Jason
the
Doobie.
comic books.
Yeah, definitely. But recently we just released Doll Murder Spree, our newest trailer for the newest feature film. We did a campy grindhouse slasher film. And it was something I had been toying with for a long time now. And I've had the script, so we did it. We made it. So
Nice.
that's coming out this year through SGL Entertainment.
Fun.
And then we also shot secretly last year a psychological horror film called Interview, starring Jeff
Is
Dylan
this
Graham.
the first you're talking about it?
Yeah,
Wow.
starring Jeff Dylan Graham and Kelsey Zugowski. And now that Doll Murder Spree's done and the deliverables are being delivered to the distributor, now we're going to start editing that. And I just finished writing season 5 and 6 of the TV show.
Okay.
So we're going to start shooting again very soon. And we're actually going to start in Vallejo soon.
Nice.
Vallejo Station. And we've been getting emails from people in San Jose who want us on. So we're going to be looking into
So how many
showing in
motion
San Jose.
pictures have you made now? I've counted at least of the 6 or 7 here.
Oh, gee. There's the Women in Horror documentary we did, which
Yes.
has worldwide distro. Monster of Golden Gate, it's black and white cheesy. Forgotten Tales, Doll Murder Spree. I'd like to thank. No, Doll Murder Spree, and then interview. So we're at about 5 now.
Okay.
But Monster of Golden Gate, the black and white cheesy one, did so well that even at Silicon, even a year not doing anything, they're like, are you going to do another one? Are you going to do a sequel? Are you gonna? And I'm like, sure. So now I'm writing one for that.
Nice.
And I've been I'm having dinner with John Stanley soon because he wants to be involved. So
Fantastic.
I'll be doing that with him soon.
Is he going to be playing the horror host?
No, actually, he in Monster of Golden Gate, he didn't play a horror host at all. But he definitely was like, I love the movie, but I want more lines in the next one. So I'm like, all right, whatever you want. You're John Stanley.
That's right.
I love John because when we shot that scene in Pacifica in the movie, I went there and he's like, "Oh, here you go. I rewrote my section of the script." And I'm like,
wow.
"Oh," he's like, "Yeah, I want this." I'm like, "Well, you're John Stanley. You do what you want."
Exactly.
So I was like, "Whatever you want." He goes. Yeah. So I've just been doing that. I just finished writing 2 novels.
That's
I don't
amazing.
sleep.
Wow. 2 novels. Are they horror novels or?
They're both horror. Yes.
Okay.
So right now I'm shopping one of them. The other one's going to come out through Black Betchy Books out of
Any
Sacramento.
titles you could give us, or?
No, I can't announce
Okay,
anything.
that's fine. I didn't think so.
Your
so.
press. No, just kidding.
Good for
I
you.
think that's all I have.
Well, it's impressive. What do you mean
She's
that's all you
going
have?
right now. I'm like, I need more. I do. I pile projects on. I need to stop.
Is there going to be a return one day to your? You guys used to do. You guys used to do the film festivals. You get a return one day.
Yeah,
like
we
that,
did
or?
6 years of A Nightmare to Remember in SF, and that was 6 years.
Yes,
I don't
okay.
think we're going to
Okay.
return to it at all. It was a good run. It went good. But, it's very hard to throw events in San Francisco. It's just there's so much going on as it is.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
it kind of got to a point where I was like, yeah, I think it's time, to stop it. But, hey, we did it.
Oh, pretty impressive.
That's how I look at it. Like, oh, I want to throw a film fest. I threw one. I want to throw a convention. I threw one. You know what I'm saying? That's how I kind of look at it. Like, at least I got to do it. So
Yeah, and they're great events. So
Thank you.
I was there at the event and had a good time.
That's right.
yes.
You're everywhere.
I try to be. And Arlene, how about what can we expect from you? What have you been doing? And
Not a whole lot.
come on, there's a more complicated answer than
No,
that.
you're a model. You've got photos.
You know what? I haven't been modeling as much because when you're happy, apparently you put on weight. And so,
You get comfortable.
you get comfortable. And so my booty is way bigger than it used to be. Not that my other half is complaining.
You should take advantage of that and take some photos.
Yeah. So anyway, but I still do some modeling, but not a whole lot. I've done commercials and
Yes.
I worked a lot with a company called Emotion Studios. They're out of what do you call it? Sausalito
Oh, cool.
area, and they're really, really wonderful company. Really great people that are there, and so I did a lot with them. And I moved down to LA area. I actually live in South Orange County, and so I really love Orange County, but I'm not that thrilled with LA. And Oscar, you know a little bit of the story
Yes,
and stuff.
yes.
So it just seems like in LA, there's a lot of people that show up there with hopes and dreams, and a lot of them end up with a lot of broken hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
And you can really feel it in the air. And that's probably the biggest thing for me is feeling like I remember like I would go, and a lot of people start off as background when you first get into
Yes,
LA
of
until you
course.
build up, and stuff. And there's a place called Central Casting that's the biggest place
Central,
that you can
yeah.
go to. And, and Brad Pitt
Well
went there
named.
and they fired him for showing up to set with, drunken pot or
Mhm.
whatever else. But actually him cursing them basically ended up making them even bigger by virtue of that. They have like 70% of the background business there, really. They're
Yeah.
pretty huge.
They do.
And so, so I did that, and I was getting work a lot, and I would listen to some of the stories of these actors, and a lot of these actors, some of them do it because they love it. They love background. They don't want to go anywhere else. And then you have the other half that are doing it just because, they need to have an income coming in, and they need to, be seen and be on set.
Of course.
So, I have this really wonderful story that I'll share with you guys real quickly. I was on set of, it was with Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
McCarthy, yeah.
Yeah, so
comedian,
Melissa,
right?
yeah. So
Yes.
she was producing and co-directing, I think it is, for this television show that's coming up. And so I think it's called Amy's Brother, I think. So I'm pitching you Melissa McCarthy if you're watching this. So anyway, so I was sitting there, and they ended up having a table with these people, and one of the background people ended up getting noticed, and she did a really wonderful. She was hilarious. She ended up getting some lines, and next thing you know, she's got a new role in an upcoming television show.
Nice.
And if it's something that Melissa's doing, it's going to be great.
Yes.
I really enjoy her comedy presence and stuff. She's a very funny lady, and so. It made me really happy because a lot of people have that conception that if you do background, you're never going to get a line, you're never going to get seen, you're never going to get noticed. And I'm like, and I sat there and watched it, and I remember like she looked at me and she's like, "Oh my God," and looked at me and smiled, and I smiled big at her, and I gave her the thumbs up, and I'm just like, you go, girl, show them what you got, and she did, and she was amazing. She was fantastic. But like in that process, I felt a lot of people brokenhearted because they're like, man, I wish it could have been me. And there were 2 other girls in that chair before her. She was actually the 3rd person to sit there, and then ended up getting, and that ended up happening and stuff. So, so that's kind of what I've experienced, like being down in LA, is a lot of broken dreams and broken hearts, and a lot of people working hard to try and, fulfill that dream.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been, so it's not really so much the city itself that I dislike, but
It's
just
atmosphere.
it's the atmosphere and seeing that, but that gave me a little bit of glimmer of hope for, anybody out there that it can happen for them. And you were talking about Code Black earlier.
Yes.
And I actually met a gentleman on another set, who started off as background, and then he started getting, lines regular. He was a regular background person, and he would get lines here and there in the episodes for Code Black.
Wow.
So, but for me, it's I kind of got really burnt out, and it kind of worsened when I went to LA. And I went there, and I was like, you know what? And I found out that there were people actually like stabbing me in the back for years, and it was more than one production company. They would basically take my resources and leave, and then because I'm like, hey, let's collaborate. I'm going to introduce you to this person. I'm going to introduce you to this person. I'll bring them together, and then they go off and they do stuff, and they're like, we can produce this ourselves. We don't need Arlene to produce it, or line produce it, because I already know people too, and we're just going to run off and do our own little thing. And that's happened to me several times. And there was so many things happening to me behind my back that also became revealed to me in a very short period of time, from more than one avenue. And that's where you saw me post where I was like, you know what, I'm really done. I'm really burnt out, and I think I'm going to just step away for a while or permanently, and just work on my own stuff, And so I wanted to finish my projects that I already have. I have Heaven or Hell that finally went up on Amazon.com, and it's getting great views, as a matter of fact. I'm just waiting for our first review. For some reason, nobody's reviewing it, but they're watching it. So at least they're watching it, and there's nothing bad that's said so far. So hey, I'll take that.
Yeah.
So that finally went up on Amazon.com, and it's called Heaven or Hell, and it's a short film. That we're hoping that somebody will say, hey, this is great. We need to make this a feature or turn this into a series, and who knows? You just never know. And then so I just put that up, and then I started up a company called Armor Productions, and Matt Salvo, some of you may know who he is. He's Sacramento-based gentleman. He's a fantastic photographer, editor, and he's building me a logo, and he's building me, company like trailer and stuff like that. So, we're collaborating on that for Armor Productions. And so under Armor Productions, we're going to shoot a web series called The Release. And so it's basically a modern day war games where it's based around these 4 teenagers, and they have 2 factions that are actually after them. And so we wrote the first season. We have 13 episodes that's been written, and we're trying to film that this coming summer. And, we're in the middle of a fundraising campaign. So we have decent amount of money already coming in, but of course you can't ever have too much money to shoot something.
Yeah.
So we have really wonderful volunteers, some people that have contributed, my mom, my aunt. I put in my own money because if you're not going to fund yourself, then why should anybody else fund you?
Yes.
So, David Perez, who's been my writer, he's been writing this with me, and he's also contributing because he also believes in this. And, Bill Reed, who's our photographer, he contributed, as well. And so, people are contributing talents along with this. And Michael Prusak, Tim Stell's helping us out, we have a lot of momentum going, on this. So we're really excited.
You're normally busy yourself.
I am, and then we're working on for Red Cape Cinema. I co-own that with 2 other people, and the founder is Ron Santiano, and we have a project called Angelic's Ascension.
Yes.
Richard Ong is the writer and our executive producer, and so we already filmed the first act, and so we have 2 more acts to go. Oh. And Ron Santiano actually is a co-owner or partnered with Legion M, which did Colossal. Yes. Which you had brought up recently as well. Yes. So he's part of Angelics is what we're working on. So, and then I was invited to produce a couple of other projects, but I'm not really sure at this point if I'm ready to take that on. Where Sleeping Dogs Lie, I've been working with them on that, and it's a feature film, and we've been shooting that, and that's been shooting up in the Sacramento or northern Sacramento area, and that's currently filming right now. Oh, okay. So it's with Burn Baby Burn Productions.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm still staying busy. In the Queue might make a comeback. My podcast. Wow. We've slowly been working on that one as well. It's just making sure, I'm very particular, which so if I come back, it's going to be coming back stronger than it was before. We made, out of 15,000 shows on Blog Talk Radio, we made top 300 in 8 months. Nice. So we came on board and we hit full force. And for me, that's not good enough. I'm a little bit, you know how I am. So I'm competitive. And so when I come back, I want it to be even better than it was then. Sweet. And so that's why I've kind of taken my time and not really rushing it, because when I come back, I want to make sure I do it right.
Fantastic. All right. Cool. Now that finally leaves me.
Yes. Tell us what you're doing.
My big news is, let me hold up my client. This is my client, Lily Jean, her name is.
Those eyes,
she's
though.
She's on the East Coast. Let me show you another picture. Here she is right here.
Beautiful.
All right. I thought so also.
Awesome.
I had actually met her and her mom through Mark Gantz. Mark Gantz.
Oh, I know Mark. Yeah.
Mark Gantz works with Jennifer Blancbean, among other in that group that whenever I worked with Jennifer on films, I was introduced to Mark.
Super sweet guy.
Yeah, great guy. And Mark introduced me to her mom, which is Lair. So Lair started talking about her daughter and started showing me pictures, and basically I started getting to know her daughter, and I decided to interview her for Indie Blush. You've probably seen the issue last year, the July-August issue. So I was impressed by what I seen as a phenom. Basically, she's heavily into mixing her own makeup and designing her own makeup, and she's getting into modeling, and she wants to get into acting. Cool. And she just turned 16, so that's another thing in her favor. So her age is in her favor. So her mom literally asked me, can you co-manage? Can you co-manage her with me? I said, well, I really have no experience being a co-manager, but I've always thought, at least you should try something at least once, see where it goes. So luckily, it seems to be going pretty well here. She's getting a lot of hits on her sites, and I'm going to name off a couple of her sites for those who are interested. Here we go. I have a long list. Lily Jean at Instagram.com, the Eyeball Queen at Instagram.com, www.lilyjean.com. That's our new website we're actually working on right now. It's not fully finished, but it will be probably within the month. And there's a couple of Facebook sites. I co-manage, like I said, I co-manage her with her mom, and our company's name is Ingenious Angene Management Group. So basically, I thought I was the one that kind of came up with the name because I think of Lily Jean as an Angene, basically, which is a classic Hollywood term as a young woman, not so much precocious, but a young, refined woman, a young woman who's very inventive, very resourceful. So I thought this is a perfect name for our company.
That's great.
Yeah, I thought it was perfect. And a couple more. Here's the www.facebook.com/slash the eyeball queen. And finally, www.facebook.com Real Lily Jean. So she's very busy, and I've got a major photo shoot with her next June, and I'm going to try to, what I'm trying to do is, Walt Disney is making a new live action Little Mermaid. I think she would be perfect for the role.
She has that look.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a couple of mermaid shots of her, among other things, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I think we're definitely going to go far with Lily Jean, and that's my latest project besides my photography and my show, The Hour of the Compassionate Wolf,
which is a great show, by the way.
Well, thank
you. Yeah. Well, and I have to say that she couldn't have asked for a better co-manager, because us having known you for as long as we have, her being as young as she is, a lot of times they could be very taken advantage of, especially if the mother or whoever is helping her is not familiar with how this industry works, because you see people being taken advantage of all the time. So if they're going to take advantage of a grown woman who has lots of life experiences, they're going to do even more so to with So she couldn't have asked for a better person.
We will definitely guard her.
To watch after her.
And with that wraps up another edition of the Slam Show. And I want to thank my co-hosts, Arlene and Raina. And we'll definitely see you next time. And I want to thank Sam for inviting us to be the host on this show.
Thank you, Sam.
This has been an
we'll untie you now.
Take
that duct tape off you.
And I want to thank the audience. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time.